I returned home prematurely from my business trip, only to find my alpha husband, Sujo-ye, celebrating my son's birthday with others. Such a remarkable alpha father should rightly be paired with an older brother. My son affectionately nestled in the embrace of another. Why is a beta my dad? The Omega laughed, gazing up at Sujo-ye. Zhou-ye, if it weren't for him, would you marry me? Indeed, Sujo-ye replied. At that moment, I suddenly caught sight of a cascade of comments flashing before my eyes. Ah, who understands how irresistibly alluring a pitiable, honest beta can be? That chest, that slender waist, those legs while the scoundrel fails. I shall seize the opportunity. Adjusts pants. 1. My fervent heart plummeted into an icy abyss. I had never witnessed such tenderness on Sujo-ye's face. Perhaps in his eyes, I was merely a ruthless and shameless beta. And in the eyes of the child I had fought so hard to bring into this world, I was simply an embarrassing beta father. I wandered aimlessly out of the villa. I should confront them, create a scene. But then what? Become a grotesque figure, driving my child and beloved further away from me? Truth be told, I lacked the standing to raise a ruckus. I lingered at the entrance, the harsh fluorescent lights flickering, casting a cold glow. It suddenly dawned on me that this place had never truly felt like home. A bone-chilling cold and a painful awareness compelled me to turn away. Leave, depart now, escape this place. Anywhere would suffice. Even as a beta, I possess hands and feet. I can earn my keep wherever I go. Suddenly, a flurry of text whirled before my eyes. Ah, who understands how irresistibly alluring the expression of a pitiable, honest beta can be? That chest, that slender waist, those legs, while the scoundrel fails, I shall seize the opportunity. Adjusts pants. The thought of him enduring the scoundrel's torment for hundreds of chapters, only to eventually pursue me, is nauseating. Sujo-ye does not deserve it. In the end, Sujo-ye will also face hardships. Deep down, I still feel a pang of sympathy. He has already developed affections for a beta, though he has yet to recognize his own heart. What kind of individuals empathize with the scoundrel upstairs? The recipient has suffered terribly, deceived into bearing a child, and in the end, the child's name was chosen to commemorate the scoundrel's white moonlight. Moreover, my son has been led to believe that being a beta is shameful, preferring to pay an unfamiliar omega rather than allowing Jiang-he to participate. How much suffering have those two ingrates caused him? Just for the sake of so-called forgiveness, is it all to be brushed aside? What do these words mean? Familiar names flickered before me, yet I could not comprehend a single line. Indeed, it seemed that since my son had become more aware, I had not attended a single parent-teacher meeting. Lost in this bewildering phenomenon, I failed to notice a sleek black sports car screeching to a halt before me. The window rolled down, revealing a strikingly androgynous young man with raven hair. His cold gaze swept over me, his voice low and somber. Strolling the streets at midnight, do you wish to perish? Before I could utter an apology, I was overwhelmed by a torrent of comments flooding my senses. 2. Ah, the antagonist has made his entrance. This is true love. He appears indifferent but is, in fact, deeply infatuated. Just a glance from him could make his brother stand in salute. While the above statement is coarse, your words are rather too blunt as well. Only a beautiful, strong protagonist and a robust, handsome love interest can create a masterpiece. Who understands this? Shang Jing has long harbored feelings for the honest man and ultimately challenges the nefarious antagonist's power for his sake, striving to rescue the imprisoned honest man. He has done so much for Jiang-he, yet the honest man remains oblivious. I recall the side story where the antagonist ceased to breathe only when he was at a grave. To the person above, my car's headlights are malfunctioning. Could you please check what's wrong up ahead? Why can't you speak up? Why allow the honest man to misunderstand? Ah, it's so frustrating. Shang Jing. I only remember having seen him once at a gathering hosted by Sujo-ye. Logically, he should be familiar with Sujo-ye and his circle. I recall that occasion vividly. I had a matter to discuss with Sujo-ye and was led to a private room. The young man with white hair sat elegantly on the sofa, the dim lights of the bar casting shadows that highlighted his perfect bone structure, his brow obscuring the overhead light, and his eyes were profound. He kept his gaze fixed on his phone, not sparing me even a glance. Sujo-ye is not here, so that's what the comments were referring to. How could this be? Everything unfolded so swiftly that I felt a bit dazed.
I'm sorry.
I apologized, quickly stepping aside. The barrage of comments seemed to multiply, dense and overwhelming, causing me some annoyance. Shang Jing slightly lifted his eyelids, his gaze drifting past me toward the brightly lit villa in the distance, his slightly furrowed brow appearing to relax. Oh, Sujo-ye and Wei Huai are together? The youth's expression was calm, yet his tone was laced with sarcasm, as if mocking me. My mood darkened further. I chose to ignore him and merely looked down as I walked ahead. After distancing myself from Shang Jing, the comments diminished significantly. I believe Shang Jing is secretly reveling in finally understanding the truth of the situation. This could be his chance. He is utterly enamored. Yet he displays a lack of perceptiveness. Jiang he is already suffering so much. Sigh. However, Jiang he still loves that scoundrel, leaving Shang Jing with little opportunity. I have a penchant for melodrama. The previous comments suggest avoiding the pitfalls, stating it's a tale of a scoundrel and a shameless recipient. After reading the synopsis, why delve into the details? I must inquire. 3. Jiang he had somehow exited the car and quickly caught up with me, his long legs effortlessly closing the distance. A faint floral fragrance enveloped me. I paused and turned to look at him. He was half a head taller than me. Pursed my lips. Cursed these genetics. His driver trailed slowly behind us. Do you still remember my name? His voice was smooth, as if he were asking a casual question, utterly unconcerned. He appears indifferent but is, in reality, deeply invested. Goodness, the scent of his pheromones is so potent. Who would have thought that the cold, aloof young master of the Shang family would emanate the fragrance of Damascus roses? This must be a display of attraction. Yet Jiang he remains entirely oblivious. However, it effectively masked the scoundrel's pheromones, which was a relief. The smell of smoke was truly unpleasant, akin to being forced to endure secondhand smoke. I took a deep breath and turned to Shang Jing. Shang Jing, why are you following me? Are you here to mock me? Perhaps we are of the same ilk, cold, arrogant, and looking down on others from our very core. Moreover, I am merely a lowly individual. The young master of the Shang family was not angered by my words. Instead, he gazed deeply into my eyes and suddenly let out a laugh. His indifferent features were instantly animated with vibrant color. Such beauty! I quickly averted my gaze. Yet he was more exquisite than most celebrities I had seen on television. Shang Jing remarked, I know Su Zhouye is not of the same kind. He should be with me. Are you out of your mind?
I am disciplined.
I go to bed by 10 o'clock, possess a strong sense of morality, would never juggle two partners, and have no white moonlight. The young man continued, moreover, I would never impose on anyone, for my first encounter with Su Zhouye was quite the debacle. At that time, he had shed his identity to escape his family's control and had moved into a small rental unit. I, on the other hand, had come to the big city to work for a living. Through a series of unfortunate events, we began cohabiting. Amidst our mundane existence, I gradually developed feelings for this reticent young man. He would leave a light on for me during my night shifts and knock on my door with breakfast when I overslept. I believed he felt the same way for me. However, on a damp, stormy night, he suddenly entered a heightened state of vulnerability. He knocked on my door. At that moment, I was unaware anything was amiss until he pressed me down onto the bed. Help me, Xiao He. I feel so uncomfortable, so pained. Your body is so cool. And I like you so much. His tear-filled eyes rendered me incapable of resisting. It was neither day nor night. I was not the protagonist of a romantic film. Regardless of whether I was awake or asleep, he remained on top of me. When I finally regained consciousness, he was standing by the window, smoking a cigarette, holding the love letter I had written him. It was a letter I had composed with all my knowledge. Yet to be delivered, it had found its way into Su Zhouye's hands. He gazed at me with furrowed brows, his dark eyes obscuring his emotions. I'm sorry. I will take responsibility. I wanted to say that I had no idea he was I wasn't seeking any identity. Yet, in the end, I said nothing and merely nodded softly. Regardless, the outcome was favorable, was it not? Our love was never meant to be accepted by mainstream society, and we had not obtained any marriage certificate. Later, amidst a bout of dry heaving, I discovered I was pregnant. A male, with his reproductive cavity nearly completely regressed, was somehow pregnant. I was terrified at that moment and considered terminating it. Yet, Su Zhouye sat silently beside me, and after a moment, he took my hand. Let us keep it. I will support you. Although he had never allowed me to meet his social circle, and he had given me nothing, it was this promise that compelled me to bring our child into the world. Fortunately, tests revealed it was a remarkably gifted boy. As I gradually spent more time with Su Zhouye, his demeanor softened. I had hoped that by raising our child well, we could create a small, warm family. Unfortunately, things did not go as planned. Upon the return of this individual from abroad, I learned that he was, in fact, Su Zhouye's white moonlight. 5. The memories swirling in my mind convinced me it would be better to return to the countryside, to farm, with the money Su Zhouye provided over the years sufficient for me to live there. Listening to Shang Jing, I felt a twinge of confusion. I was uncertain whether raising a child was the latest trend in their upper-class circle, But for me, mere sustenance and warmth sufficed. I'm sorry. I think I'll return home to farm. Shang Jing's eyelashes fluttered slightly. He continued to walk alongside me. I glanced at my phone. Neither father nor son had responded to the messages I sent 3 hours ago. The more I scrolled up, the clearer my mind became. This was all my solitary performance. Meanwhile, on social media, Su Zhouye had posted pictures of himself with his new partner, with my child smiling like a blooming flower. Their heartfelt blessings read, "Happy birthday to my dear Wei Huai." I had never appeared in his social media. "I will take you away from here." Shang Jing cast a glance at my phone and spoke. I replied, "All right, thank you." Since I had resolved to leave the Su family, I needed to start saving for myself. I was aware that he had not obtained a marriage certificate, and our son's household registration remained with the Su family. I would not receive any financial support, and given my circumstances, I could not secure custody of my son either. Moreover, my son did not seem to have any affection for me. He found me lacking in beauty and deemed my profession unworthy of pride. Why should I subject myself to such hardships? "There's no trouble, let's go," he said. A fleeting glimmer of what appeared to be a smile flickered in his eyes, too swift for me to discern. He turned away first and I followed closely behind, moving at a leisurely pace. After some contemplation, I sent the photos I had just taken at home to Su Zhouye. "You mentioned before that you wanted me to leave. I promised you. Wishing you both a lifetime of happiness, and congratulations on fulfilling your desires." After some reflection, I blocked and deleted all his contact information. Once seated in the car, the barrage of comments, which had been silent for a while, erupted once more. Why does the second viewing have some differing plot points? Are we watching a fanfiction? They're in the car. Zhang He is in Shang Jing's car. Shang Jing is currently driving a cheerful little sports car. "Shang Jing, you must take Zhang He to a tea house. As a tea artist, we are saved. With this arrangement, who knows how delightful the meals will be. And didn't Zhang He just block the scumbag? Delightful, very favorable for the breast tissue. I dare say, it only takes 3 no's for Su Go to start going mad. Is the pursuit of the wife's cremation ground happening so quickly? And they're already together. My goodness, has the author finally taken the right medicine? Hoping for a final pairing of the cold exterior and warm interior beautiful lead. Shang Jing, are you alright? You're dying to say you like him but not saying it. If not, I'll take the initiative. I want to bury myself in it. I closed my eyes, no longer looking at the barrage of comments. Is there something wrong with my mental state? Should I seek treatment? Are these comments truly reflective of reality? I was perplexed, perhaps momentarily losing my mind, and glanced at the young man beside me who had closed his eyes to rest. I asked, "Shang Jing, do you like me?" Shang Jing abruptly opened his eyes and turned to look at me. Comments. Are we heading straight for the conclusion? Oh no, I've let my mouth slip due to the barrage of comments. 6. Before Shang Jing could utter another word, the engine roared, and the sound of brakes screeched in unison. A tremendous inertia propelled my body forward, crashing against the seat back in front of me. Yet, pain did not follow. He stretched out his arms, enveloping me in his embrace, and something hard pressed against his chest. Felt like a necklace, causing me a slight discomfort. I furrowed my brow, catching a glimpse of a red line extending to the collar of his shirt, with a vague outline protruding beneath his clothing. "Young master, it's Su Zhouye." The driver's voice came from the front. Shang Jing clicked his tongue in annoyance. "Su Zhouye? Why him?" Instinctively, I attempted to pull away from Shang Jing's embrace, but his grip was too strong. Deprived of sight, my other senses heightened. I could hear the powerful rhythm of his heartbeat, quickening due to the sudden turn of events. Just then, I heard a furious banging on the door. "Shang Jing, get out here." Based on my understanding of Su Zhouye, he was teetering on the edge of rage. I instinctively clutched the sleeve of my coat and pursed my lips. "Don't be afraid," Shang Jing reassured me, patting my shoulder before releasing his hold. I finally regained my sight. Outside the car, the banging grew louder. Simultaneously, the barrage of comments resumed. "Wait, ISNT Su Zhouye Super Alpha? He bangs on doors at the slightest disagreement? They embraced. When did Shang Jing become so proactive? He*s breaking character. This proud young master ISNT supposed to be the type who is secretly in love but acts cold and indifferent on the surface. Yet the writing style unmistakably belongs to the original author, and aside from a few odd behaviors, nothing else seems out of place. It's decidedly off. Are we truly watching the original work? Are you all rewatchers? This is my first time and I find it somewhat exhilarating. Congrats to the one above. Gritting teeth. 7. Su Zhouye, Does old Master Su know you're causing a ruckus and smashing other people's cars? As the window rolled down, Shang Jing's demeanor grew increasingly frosty as he lifted his gaze to the man outside. Two top-tier individuals locked eyes. The surrounding air seemed to stagnate. Su Zhouye took a deep breath, calming himself. He did not respond to Shang Jing's inquiry but fixed his gaze on me. In the next moment, his sharp brows softened, his eyes reddened, and he pitifully remarked, "How much I've suffered to win you back. How is it that, after just one night's sleep, Jiang He, you no longer want me?" I was momentarily taken aback. This expression, like a small dog abandoned in the rain, was one I had never seen before. A flurry of question marks flew across the comments. What is he going on about? Huh? The scumbag can cry? He actually spoke coherently? Has the author been hacked? I too was filled with confusion. What does he mean by again? 8. TCH. Shang Jing's cold laughter shattered the standoff. He took my phone and tapped on the photo I had taken. Oh, acting so affectionate. Does the person who dines with your white moonlight happen to be your twin brother? Su Zhouye gazed at the photo, lost in thought, his pupils suddenly contracting as he looked at me and said, Jiang He, that ISNT me. No, I'm not him. I've changed, you have to believe me. I struggled to comprehend his statement, feeling somewhat bewildered, but just a few days ago you told me to get lost. How could he change so swiftly? Was this also a result of pheromone manipulation? He paused, adopting a feigned strong voice as he said, If I told you that the Su Zhouye from half an hour ago is not from the same timeline, would you believe me? Hey. What the hell? Wow. No way. The barrage transformed entirely into exclamations. Then you mean the other Su Zhouye is also the same person? Shang Jing cast a glance at me. All the hurt hasn't simply erased with the passage of time. Once a person has experienced it, the pain remains. Indeed, hurt is hurt. I regained my composure, pursed my lips, and my tone turned unyielding. Su Zhouye, you should leave. I don't want the child anymore. Dad? What are you saying? At that moment, two individuals who had followed Su Zhouye out appeared. My child was about to support the wobbling Su Zhouye. At this moment, he stared at me with wide eyes, his own eyes reddening. This statement was profoundly damaging to a child. He, like his father, began to shout, Jiang He. What do you mean? You don't want me anymore? Do you not care for me at all? A father like that makes me feel ashamed. Ashamed. Su Yunan. Su Zhouye's voice was hoarse as he covered his son's head, appearing somewhat pained. Don't speak like that about your father. You'll cry for him every night from now on. Father, are you out of your mind? I hate Jiang He's father.
Su Yui collapsed.
Su Yunan called out for his father and hurriedly supported him. Weian furrowed his brow and looked at me. Jiang He, as a father, you are woefully inadequate, making such irresponsible remarks in public.
No wonder.
The last statement trailed off as he exaggeratedly covered his red lips with his hand. Oh dear. I apologize. I did not mean to criticize you. It is just that seeing Yunan distressed made me somewhat anxious. After all, you are rather lacking in empathy, my apologies. Despite his verbal apologies, there was no trace of regret in his eyes, which instead gleamed with malice and mockery. Shang Jing let out a cold laugh. Enemies are often the source of mischief. Upon recognizing the individual seated beside me, Weian's expression momentarily turned blank. Weian, your family is still so unrefined. Your father is, and so are you. The young man continued, his tone a mix of mockery and disdain, each word slicing through the atmosphere like a knife, drawing blood with every utterance. Shang Jing. My lips had lost their color, and the resentment in my eyes flickered before being replaced by a veneer of hypocrisy. Such words truly disregard the Wan and Su families. It matters not. We ought to gather outside sometime. There are many misunderstandings between us that should be resolved. Humph. Shang Jing rolled up the car window, blocking my view. The vehicle moved forward. I faintly heard my child's cries. Daddy, if you leave, I will never recognize you again. Little brat, if you don't recognize me, then I won't recognize you either, Shang Jing retorted mockingly. This was quickly followed by the child's wailing. I rubbed my temples and lowered my head. 9. I possessed very little, just a woven bag. It now lay in the trunk of the car. The scenery outside the window raced past, as if swiftly trampling over my past memories. My home was impoverished, nestled in a remote valley. I had only completed junior high. My parents had passed away early, and my grandmother worked hard to raise me. Initially, I had no intention of continuing my education after primary school. However, my teacher trudged up into the valley, knocking on my door, exclaiming, Jiang He, you must go to school. I opened the door to find the young man with mud on his face and his clothes torn by thorns. Teacher, I have no money, I whispered. This society is a hive of laborers. All resources gravitate towards the privileged. The Federation champions the survival of the fittest. The government would not waste money on such charitable acts. When I was in elementary school, my grandmother had to grit her teeth and sell her last dowry to gather the money. The teacher looked at me and then took my hand. Child, I will pay your junior high tuition. You must continue your studies. Life is hard, and without an education, it becomes even harder. I excelled in junior high. The teacher wanted to support me through college. However, in my first year of high school, my grandmother passed away. From that moment, I was utterly alone. I carried nothing but that small woven bag, placing all my savings at the teacher's doorstep. I moved from the mountains to the city, embarking on my working life. Now, this plastic fiber woven bag lay on an opulent carpet, appearing utterly out of place, much like myself in this dazzling city. I calmly averted my gaze. 10. I did not return home. Instead, I followed Shangjing to his residence. I was granted a beautiful room, filled with lovely clothes and adornments. Although I did not comprehend the value of these upper-class embellishments, it was clear they were not inexpensive. Shangjing carefully placed my woven bag in a corner of the room, then turned to me and softly said, "Let us not go out just yet. Avoid the storm for a while. Later, once things settle down, I will take you out, all right? But I am afraid of you. The Sheng family does not fear that Su, so you need not worry." He immediately grasped my meaning. "Rest assured here. I will take care of the rest. Isn't that too much trouble for you?" Shangjing gazed at me with his deep, captivating eyes, a hint of a smile gracing his lips. Trouble? How could it be? I would welcome it. The remaining words faded at the corners of his mouth, and I did not catch them. "Ah, he said he would welcome you staying by his side. I am the carpet, and I attest that what was said upstairs is true. I am the lamp, and I can attest as well. I am the window, and I can attest too." The barrage of comments whizzed past his head. As he turned to leave, I gently tugged at the hem of his clothing. "What is it?" he inquired. "It's nothing." I pondered for a moment and shook my head. I wanted to go to the hospital, felt as if my eyes were failing. Or perhaps it was my mind. The large hospitals in the city must be far superior to those in my village. Yet, I refrained from burdening Shangjing further. He had already helped me immensely. I withdrew my hand and smiled. "Thank you." 11. Shangjing offered me a generous salary to act as his bodyguard. While this was not an unreasonable proposition, considering my imposing stature and the intimidation I could project when stern, there was a problem. He was taller than I and a formidable opponent. If I could not defeat him, how could I overpower others? I was somewhat perplexed. Shangjing explained that there were certain situations where he could not intervene directly, making it more convenient for someone like me to step in. Though I did not fully comprehend, I nodded in agreement, feeling a twinge of regret. Yet no one would deny the allure of money. It was merely a change of employer. Nonetheless, I found greater happiness here than in my previous circumstances. I had freedom. I received a monthly salary. The others here treated me kindly. My woven bag was meticulously safeguarded by Shangjing, placed in a safe. It was rather absurd, perhaps due to the influence of the comments. I had been dreaming frequently in recent nights. I dreamt of all that I was supposed to experience, as mentioned in the comments. Each time I awoke, the dream faded almost entirely. Yet, Shangjing's blue eyes, imbued with confusion and sorrow, remained indelibly etched in my mind. Why did he display such an expression? 12. A gentle breeze roused me from slumber. Upon opening my eyes and spotting a tombstone, I immediately realized I was once again ensnared in a dream. Focusing my gaze, my mind sharpened. The tombstone bore my name. "Yunan, do you truly wish to proceed with this?" An elderly man, somewhat familiar to me, frowned disapprovingly. "Your father, as you know, has already been laid to rest. Do you still wish to disturb them?" Standing beside him, clad in a black trench coat, was Su Yunan. His appearance bore a striking resemblance to his father, albeit with a touch more warmth in his features and an air of authority. I sat beside the tombstone, resting my chin on my hand and observing. It was surprising that the once temperamental child had grown up to mask his emotions so effectively. It seemed Su Zhouye had not raised him too poorly after all, which reassured me. Su Yunan's brows knitted together, displaying a mix of anger and anguish. I must do this because that madman Shangjing might actually desecrate my father's remains. Dig him up. Let us do it now. If it is indeed my father within, I will apologize to them. I twitched my lips. Well, it still didn't quite sit right with me. Moreover, what did this have to do with Shangjing? Suddenly, I recalled a comment that had been made earlier. Initially dismissive of it, I now found my heart racing as I watched the earth being slowly excavated. until I beheld two bodies, so decayed that their features were unrecognizable. Felt as though I had been struck by lightning. The towering corpse embraced another, more decayed body, and among them, a ring sparkled. I had seen this ring around Shang Jing's neck before. It was strung together, hanging around his neck. Me! Su Yunan's expression turned horrifying. He immediately recognized that this corpse was not his father's. I've been worshipping at my father's mistress's grave all these years. Where did my father's body go? This dream was exceedingly bizarre. I struggled to regain my composure. Each time I encountered Shang Jing, my gaze involuntarily drifted to his necklace. A red string adorned with a ring. Most of the time, the ring was concealed beneath his clothing, pressed closely against his warm skin, revealing only a glimmer of silver on rare occasions. It felt like a treasure tightly wrapped, igniting an insatiable desire to pry into it, much like Shang Jing himself. The reticent youth I once knew had transformed entirely into the person I now saw. What had he experienced? My curiosity about Shang Jing deepened. I gazed into the mirror at a young man clad in a suit, his demeanor somewhat serious. I shook my head vigorously, dispelling the memories, and changed out of the suit. Shang Jing had said it was work attire sent for me. Ah, the suit. If I didn't mention it, one might think the antagonist had exquisite taste. Thumbs up. That broad chest, oh my. Yes, and a flurry of screams that grew increasingly outrageous, ultimately censored by a mosaic. Young master, young master. The butler's call interrupted my reverie. I stepped out of the room to find the butler chasing a small child who was running amok. Another child stood at the door, arms crossed, with an expressionless little face. I hurried downstairs, darting forward to lift the mischievous child. Butler Wang. Ah, thank you, Xiao Zhang. My old bones can hardly endure such antics. Butler Wang wiped the sweat from his brow, gratefully accepting the child from my hands. You're welcome. My gaze swept over the child still standing at the door. His hair was white, and his eyes were a striking blue, reminiscent of the sea, unmistakably reflecting the Shang family's genes. Retracting my gaze, I prepared to return to my room. Ah, I recognize these two children. They are Shang Jing's sister's children, right? The one with black hair is Qi Song, and the one with white hair is Qi Ting. Due to an unfortunate incident, their sister and brother-in-law both perished, leaving behind the two children. I remember these two children like Jiang He quite a bit, but unfortunately, Jiang He didn't care much for them, and ended up dying just like Shang Jing. Everyone thought these two kids were harbingers of disaster, and their fate didn't seem particularly bright either. Sigh. These comments momentarily halted my steps. I instinctively turned my head to find Qi Ting staring blankly at me, his eyes slightly red, resembling an innocent rabbit more than a block of ice. Upon making eye contact, he froze for a moment, instinctively turning his gaze away. Moments later, the little white rice dumpling stealthily turned his head back, realizing I was still watching him. A faint blush appeared on his snow-white face. He was of an age similar to my child, yet his temperament was far more endearing than that of a stubborn little donkey. Would you like to come to my room to play? I inquired. Who are you to my brother? He definitely won tea. Qi Song began to speak. All right.
Qi Ting nodded. Qi Song.
Butler? Ha ha ha. I'm impressed. Qi Song's expression seems to say, who has taken over my brother's body? The butler's expression conveys, the young master hasn't smiled in 5 years. You are the first man to make him laugh. This is too wild upstairs. So adorable. So precious. Oh, I hope this time brings happiness beyond measure. When Shang Jing returned, Qi Song abandoned his blocks, running over while calling for his uncle. Qi Ting glanced up, then looked down at the spot vacated by Qi Song, shifted his body, and comfortably claimed all of my lap, drowsy. The young man observed this scene, raising an eyebrow, appearing unfazed. I hope today hasn't caused you any trouble. He shed his black coat, leaving only a gray turtleneck sweater, his white hair tied back, appearing less menacingly aloof. I smiled and shook my head. No trouble at all. I quite like children. Have you been drinking? Initially subtle, the scent of alcohol became evident as he approached. Up close, I could see a thin veil of mist clouding his beautiful azure eyes. Just a little, it's inescapable. Aunt Bai has already gone to brew some hangover tea. The young man fixed his gaze on me, then smiled faintly, sitting cross-legged beside me, gently ruffling Qi Ting's hair. Why didn't you greet your uncle, little white-eyed wolf? Exactly, Qi Song chimed in. This heartwarming scene momentarily stunned me. At the Su residence, when I was sent to the hospital by the servants, no one was by my side. After giving birth, no one came either. For most of the time before the baby's gender was determined, It was just Su Yunan and me in that vast villa. He never asked me, "When will Daddy come back? Does Daddy not like me?" I tightened my embrace around him, saying, "No, Shaoan, it's just that Daddy is too busy." Those pale, powerless words echoed in the empty room, reverberating in my ears, leading me to almost believe them. It wasn't until Wei Huai's arrival that I finally awakened from the dream I had woven for myself. Su Zhouye simply did not like me, along with everything that came with it. If Wei Huai liked Su Yunan, then he would also like me. I realized this yet could not help but recall that humid, rainy night, the kiss he placed on my nape, and that complex gaze filled with wavering affection and superficial love, along with that light, airy promise. Pain tearing, and despair birthed a hopeless yearning. I spent those years in such an environment, until the final straw lightly fell upon my back. All illusions came crashing down. "Uncle." I snapped back to reality, looking down at Qi Ting in my embrace. "What is it?" I asked, half smiling. "Xiao Zhonggij takes better pictures than you," Qi Ting earnestly stated, shaking the little rabbit I had made for him. "I also like Xiao Zhonggij. You are now my rival." "Sheng Jing?" I closed the door behind me, yet the image of the young man's reddened face lingered in my mind. "Uncle, your face is so red," Qi Song said, puzzled. Qi Ting added, expressionless, like a cooked shrimp. Sheng Jing futilely covered his face, his voice tinged with exasperation. "Stop saying that. I'm a bit drunk. I can't understand what they're saying. I'm gonna get some hangover soup." He stood up unsteadily while covering his face, about to topple over onto me. Qi Ting, being quick and nimble, skillfully dodged, avoiding being crushed. I instinctively reached out to catch him, and he fell into my arms, heavier than I remembered. Despite my precautions, I was swiftly knocked to the ground. He braced himself on either side, staring blankly at me. Those cerulean eyes resembled the mesmerizing whirlpools of a tranquil sea, captivating one's very soul. The ring slipped from the collar, suspended in the air between us. The light refracted from the diamond left me in a daze, causing a slight vertigo. I could faintly discern a few letters inscribed on the interior of the ring, though they remained unclear. The young man quivered his lips, gradually lowering his head, inching ever closer to me. At that moment, a pudgy hand reached between us. "Uncle, we are still children," Qi Ting stated expressionlessly. The atmosphere was abruptly shattered. Perhaps feeling even more embarrassed, Sheng Jing leaned against me, burying his face in the crook of my neck, utterly still. It was only when Aunt Bai arrived to call out that Sheng Jing slowly rose, muttering that he was going to drink some hangover soup before hastily escaping. My face felt slightly warm as I awkwardly rubbed it. "Ah, 2 red apples," Qi Song exclaimed. Qi Ting replied, As I settled onto the edge of the bed, my phone vibrated. I opened the message to find another text from Su Zhouye. "Jiang He, today our son asked when you would return. He misses you dearly. I know you love Yunnan, and you wish to provide him with a warm home. You wouldn't want our son to grow up without a complete family, would you? I am not the person I once was. We have endured much, yet we are still together, having forgiven one another and loving each other even more. Is it not a blessing to witness our sincere feelings granting us a second chance? This time, let us bypass the numerous entanglements and relish every moment together. Shall we?" He has become quite persistent. When I block one number, he simply acquires another. I clenched my phone tightly, furrowing my brow. What is this talk of rebirth and past lives? He seems to spout whatever comes to mind. Before me, the barrage of comments reappeared. Sigh, having a child is merely a means of binding someone. It's somewhat nauseating. I recall the plot suggesting that the protagonist gained Su Yunan's forgiveness. Not to mention, this character is quite arrogant. How dare he continue to threaten? Has he not been reborn, yet still shows no remorse? I truly question whether he realizes the wrongs he has committed. I previously engaged in lengthy debates in the comments section regarding this matter. Although the novel depicts them reuniting and living happily ever after, I can guarantee he will continue to torment, indulging in domestic violence and infidelity. He merely finds himself unaccustomed to the absence of a caretaker. Such is his nature, and it cannot be changed. I concur with the previous commenter. Do not attempt to alter a person's essence. Seek those who are inherently good. In truth, I believe the author intended for them to be together. The narrative has unfolded in such a manner that the protagonist is still enamored with the scoundrel, while the antagonist is of no significance to him. Yet, this time seems different. I find myself somewhat intrigued. I took a deep breath, uncertain of the mechanism behind the comments, even questioning whether my psyche was compromised following my trauma. Nevertheless, they spoke a truth I could not ignore. A person cannot entirely transform into someone else. As for my child, since he no longer acknowledges me as his father. Why should I endure the humiliation of being so sentimental? I furrowed my brow and pondered for a moment. What past life or this life? I possess but this one existence, and I must strive earnestly within it. I do not comprehend your words, but I am acutely aware that our relationship has irrevocably changed. Please release me. Is this not what you have longed for? His prideful demeanor, upon hearing my resolute declaration, should deter him from further entanglement, I hoped. Before long, I received a reply. Release you? You still wish for release? I shall not permit it. You are mine and you shall always be mine. You will inevitably forgive me for you love me. This was true in our previous life, and it remains so in this one, and the next. You shall never escape me. Since you departed from me once before, shall I not merely repeat my past actions to restore our relationship to its former glory? I love you, I love you, I love you. Countless declarations of love filled the entirety of the message, revealing a terrifying madness within. Madman, I murmured quietly, deleting the message. Once again, I blocked that unfamiliar number. Following that, my life resumed its tranquil course, undisturbed. In fact, it improved beyond what it had been before. I was no longer confined to an empty room, awaiting the return of someone unknown. I cultivated my own life and social circle, all of whom were wonderful. My life began to brim with hope and aspirations. For the first time in this sprawling city, I felt a sense of belonging. Shang Jing did not impede my part-time endeavors nor hinder my friendships. He often gazed at me with a lingering sadness, sighing before asking, Jiang He, are you not happy? Very happy, I fervently nodded. However, after being struck on the head and losing consciousness, I found myself back in that familiar room, as if I had returned to a nightmare. The curtains blocked out most of the sunlight, allowing just enough for me to discern the silhouette of the young man seated by my bedside. Awake, I shall never forget that voice. Its owner had been entwined with my life for so long. I licked my parched lips, speaking each word deliberately. Su Zhouye, what do you want? I merely wish for life to return to its original course. He cradled my face with his warm hands, compelling me to meet his gaze. In his eyes burned an insatiable fire of ambition. I turned my head, unwilling to face him, yet he grasped me firmly. Su Zhouye, you are truly mad. Mad? You have never spoken harshly to me before, he murmured. I simply had a stroke of bad luck. The timing of my crossing was amiss. You cannot cease loving me for that. You have forced my hand, but it matters not, for everything shall come to an end. What do you intend to do? A foreboding sense of unease washed over me. All that is needed is to resolve another unforeseen circumstance. My dear, just wait for me a little longer. He locked eyes with me, his expression shifting as one hand shielded my eyes, his voice gritted with intensity. Do not look at me with such disdain. You love me? You love me. One cannot remain despicable indefinitely, I calmly replied in the darkness. The version of me in that dream had been persistently struggling and resisting, yet was propelled by an invisible force, entwined with Su Zhouye, as if I were compelled to comply. Time passed unremarkably. My phone was confiscated, and my movements were confined within this small room. Occasionally, Su Yunan would come to keep me company, though his words had grown scarce. Father, Su Yunan said softly, gazing at the untouched meal before him, I prepared this for you. Please try it. Let me out. I could not utter harsh words in front of my own child. He raised his small hand. A blister formed from the fire. Father, I am hurt. Just like his father, he was stubborn. I sighed. Did the servant not attend to your injury? No, father. I wish for you to help me, Su Yunan replied. Then let me go to fetch the first aid kit. All right, Su Yunan said, tugging at my sleeve as he followed me outside. The bodyguard cast a glance at Su Yunan before silently resuming his post. I navigated the living room with ease, locating the medicine cabinet to tend to his wounds. Is it today, Dad? Su Yunan hesitated, words caught in his throat. What's wrong? I observed his stammering, a wave of confusion washing over me. Having finished the bandaging, I lowered my gaze to tidy up the supplies. Just then, a torrent of comments flooded my vision once more. Oh no, it seems Shang Jing is in dire straits. To avoid being controlled by pheromones, he destroyed his own glands. Su Zhouye, that beast, used Jiang He's whereabouts as bait. Otherwise, Shang Jing wouldn't he have been so easily deceived. Sigh, is this really the protagonist? His heart has gone to the dogs. No way. I've always liked Shang Jing as the top. The author can't just let him meet his demise like this. Alas, Jiang He remains blissfully unaware. After all, the official pairing is Su Zhouye. This top is just too disgusting. Sigh. The items in my hand clattered to the ground. Dad, what is wrong? Shaoan, let me out. My voice trembled as I said, if you still consider me your father. I finally remembered that today was not Su Yunan's birthday. The memory of him, tearfully professing his love for me, echoed in my mind. But there was no time for reflection. Uncle Wang, have you found Shangjing? I inquired anxiously at the public phone booth. Uncle Wang appeared somewhat surprised before replying, not yet, young Jiang. Where have you been these past few days? I apologize. I'll explain later. I covered the phone, glancing at the comments before me, my voice hoarse with desperation. Do you know the story? Can you help me? What the hell? The protagonist can see what we're saying? Wait. This isn't the time for such discussions. How do we help the show find the gong? Who knows where he is? The author hasn't updated. We're out of options. I'm the authoress' little sister. Wait for me. I'll go find the authoress drafts. The happy ending is in your hands now. 1 minute, 2 minutes. Sweat poured down my face. Didn't my sister say it was already concluded? Why is there still more to write? This is the first time I've wanted to knife the author. Is this keyboard even capable of writing? I forced my sister to sit at the keyboard. Hold on. I can see the document is already filled with words. We can't change it now, but the plot has moved to that point. It's South Jiangxi Park. Hurry to Jiangxi Park. It's been abandoned for so long, and Shangjing is locked in that small house. He is in terrible condition. Xiao He, your happy ending depends on you crafting it with your own hands. I arrived at Jiangxi Park, which had long been neglected, overgrown with wild grass. When I found Shangjing, his breath was faint. His body was covered in blood, and he gazed down, stroking a clean hand over the ring. The intense fragrance of flowers on the verge of decay filled the air. It was the scent of his pheromones. Shangjing. I rushed to his side, grasping his hand. Stumbling over my words, the ambulance is on the way. Uncle Wang and the others will be here soon, hold on. Is this a hallucination? The young man's pupils were dimming, struggling to focus as he spoke softly. I wanted to cover the bleeding on his neck. It's too late, Jiang He. He shook his head, his voice still gentle. Don't cry for me. I want you to smile more. This ring was made by me in my previous life, but I never got to give it away. When I realized life had lost its meaning, I let you go. He trembled as he placed the ring in my palm. Be happy, Xiao Jiang. In my last life, Shangjing was mute, saying nothing at all. In this life, I want to tell you, you cried for me, and I would do anything. You once asked me if I liked you. My answer is, I love you, I will always love you, unwaveringly. He struggled to utter the last words, his longing gaze tracing my features before he finally bowed his head in surrender. He was gone. I felt the warmth fleeing from his body. Whoa, he can't really be dying, can he? No, after overcoming numerous trials, author, grant them a beautiful ending. I beg you. Damn it. I refuse to believe I can't make this keyboard work. Don't worry, everyone. I'll show the keyboard what it means to have determination. Is the author up there? If it doesn't work out, we'll make you eat razor blades. Cold laugh. In the end, I put my life on the line to change one word, but it's all right. The problem is resolved. Huh? What word? He lived. Shangjing suddenly opened his eyes wide, coughing out a mouthful of dark blood. What on earth is this? A medical miracle. Divine Doctor, oh author. Is this the conclusion? Come take a group photo. Confess your love. We are the super adorable readers, and we adore you both. Be happy. Author, you must write an epilogue. So reluctant, but farewell for now. Rest assured, the epilogue is definitely on the way, and in a delightful manner as my apology, woo-woo. What delightful manner? I couldn't comprehend. The comments gradually faded, yet the young man before me smiled ever more vividly. I wiped away my tears, my mind too cluttered to dwell on those thoughts, and embraced him tightly. The sound of the ambulance grew nearer, and I heard Butler Wang's urgent calls. The world drew closer to me, and the miracle shone brilliantly. I wiped my tears and bowed deeply to the comments. Then, smiling at Shangjing, I said, let us go home. Su Zhouye evaporated from the world. His company was absorbed by others, and the Su family, once prominent, gradually faded into obscurity. When I asked Shangjing, the young man smiled, he is not dead. I know Shaoan still needs a father, just that they've moved to a different place. We can't lose a dad and then lose a father too. If you want to see Shaoan, you can go anytime. My heart was a tumult of emotions as I gently stroked the nape of his neck, asking, how do you feel now? Not much of an issue. My wife can't smell pheromones, so it doesn't matter whether they're there or not. Regular checkups will suffice. The young man leaned in, our noses nearly touching, his eyes curving with delight. Our relationship blossomed naturally after that moment. I gradually grew accustomed to him calling me by endearing names. I softly corrected him, I can smell it, the scent of roses. Recalling that thrilling moment, I added, damask roses. In his eyes, the tranquil azure sea suddenly swelled with hidden currents. Wife, did you know? Telling someone you like them about the scent of their pheromones is an invitation? The young man's intense gaze fell upon my lips, and in the next moment, he was kissing me passionately, breathless with excitement. Smell me again, wife. What do I smell like? Like a peacock displaying its feathers. I was lost in the kiss, and in a fleeting moment, something familiar seemed to flicker past, perhaps something blue, all characters in English. A connection? It must be an illusion. It had been a long time since I last saw the comments. Pay attention. I'll punish you. The young man had already tied his long hair back with one hand, his eyes brimming with fervent desire, overwhelming in its intensity. I could no longer think. In the corner where I no longer paid attention, a flurry of comments swiftly darted across the screen. Sigh. Emma smells wonderful. This time we must be discreet. Let us not disturb the blissful lives of the couple. Sisters, hold back on the comments. Understood. Let us leave behind a string of enigmatic numbers and then be silent. 99. Epilogue. Shangjing. Shangjing vividly recalls the first encounter with Zhang He. It was in a dizzying bar, where a figure appeared before him. The waist, the legs, the shoulders, the face. Just a single glance ensnared his attention. He recognized this person instantly. Suzhouye's Prachi. He struggled to redirect his gaze back to his phone before being detected. Yet nothing could capture his focus. The characters on the screen morphed into an indecipherable jumble. Hello, may I ask? Before the other party could finish, Shangjing interjected coldly. Suzhouye is not here. The young man responded with a good-natured smile, the lines of his brow seemingly imbued with an enchanting allure that captivated Shangjing. However, he resisted the temptation. As he watched the young man depart, he silently admonished himself. You are a person of moral integrity. You are someone who has read the classics. You would never stoop to undermining others' relationships, especially not someone of high caliber. Young Shangjing thought. He regarded himself as an observer, watching the tumultuous love-hate saga involving Suzhouye. Until, one rainy day, Suzhouye stormed off, his figure swaying precariously. Shangjing hurried forward, shielding him with an umbrella from the downpour. After taking in the abandoned Zhang He, the once desolate villa suddenly brimmed with vitality. Each return unveiled the familiar face of the young man. Thus, as he muttered about returning to the countryside to farm, the traditional landscape of the backyard was transformed by Shangjing into arable land for Zhang He to cultivate. Watching the young man's smile, accompanied by repeated expressions of gratitude, Shangjing fought to maintain a stern visage, responding with a mere hum. The corners of his lips were difficult to suppress. Felt exhilarating. He yearned not for work, but simply to return home each day to gaze upon that face. He longed to prepare meals for him, to hear him praise his industriousness. Such underhanded schemes were not meant for him. If the unlovable were the third party, then his mother had said so. To be a partner requires composure. Otherwise, one may appear unreliable. Hence, Shangjing emulated his father's demeanor, speaking less frequently. Until the moment Zhang He was about to leave, he spoke gently. I know you dislike me. I apologize for the trouble I've caused you, Mr. Shang. I shall no longer intrude. Suzhouye cast a cold glance at Shangjing, exuding the demeanor of a victor. The money will be given to you, but keep your distance from Xiao He. Dislike? You think I dislike you? His throat tightened, as if constricted by an unseen force, while the newly polished diamond rings in his suit pocket pressed against his fingertips, igniting a burning pain. He had prepared for his confession, drafting 3 versions, each revised and amended. Is it because I speak too little? He asked, bewildered. Just as Zhang He was about to enter the vehicle, I failed to convey my feelings. If only you felt my affection, would you not choose to stay? Before he could finish, Suzhouye reached out and closed the car door. The vehicle sped away. Happiness, which once seemed within reach, had now dissipated. Zhang He no longer saw Shangjing in his eyes as he departed with the happiness that belonged to Shangjing. Once more, he encountered happiness only beside Zhang He's lifeless body. He simply wished to cease existing. Previously, he had been like a rat in the gutter, spying on Suzhouye and Zhang He's life. Until Zhang He passed away, this world devoid of him lost all allure. He tenderly embraced the corpse, content to close his eyes, indifferent to the foul stench of death. He dared not place the ring upon Jiang He's lifeless form, uncertain of his wishes. Instead, he gently laid it in their shared embrace. How wonderful it would be if we could be the protagonists of this story. I would speak more, allowing you to know how deeply I love you, to love wholly for an entire lifetime, not missing a single moment. The end.